Hi, I'm Marko Kohtamäki, and this short video will introduce how to do our strategy update at our university, this time by this method. At our university, we have used this method since 2023 when we crafted the first version of the university strategy. It's time to update our university strategy at different levels. For the strategy update, we will involve again the whole personnel, and we will be working with our performance units and administrative unit level strategies so that they correspond to the targets being set and the university level strategy. This video is not really a content presentation of our strategy, but instead I use our university strategy and our strategic business development performance unit strategy to illustrate the update process as concretely as possible. To keep this video short, I will not delve any details, but just make some critical pointers to help your strategic thinking at your units. In the second slide, you see our strategy triangle, which intends to synthesize our mission, strategic areas, and areas of strength. This is the core of our strategy. We build on this model. It's good to think that PU level strategies should align with the university strategy throughout. A bit like our university strategy triangle, the next slide depicts our strategic business development performance unit level areas of strength. This is not something we produce in our strategy update workshop, but something that would definitely add value to your PU level strategies. So I strongly encourage to consider to build this type of concept or picture. This is here to provide an example and benchmark which you can use to develop your common strategic thinking. Much of the needed strategic thinking and strategy work will not take place within the workshop, but it's something that you should constantly reflect and develop. The next slide depicts our vision, so-called must-win battles, as bolded text, and then the capabilities on the left side. Here you start crafting the combination of resources and processes required to achieve the vision and strategic targets. Strategic targets which are operationalized from the university vision. Again, also at the PU level, the combination of capabilities should be unique. So constantly try to search for those components that differentiate you from the competitors, that make your performance unit unique. Where is your competitive advantage now, and particularly in the future? The time scope can be and perhaps should be 2030. And again, the same thing at the level of strategic business development performance unit in the next slide as an example. The next tool includes customer value promise. Now this here is in a very short format. And as you see, we take shortcuts to create the baseline thinking regarding strategy overall. Now, this does not mean that you should not be specifying your customer segments, but at this level, to be able to unify our strategic thinking within and across the units, we need to simplify. Segmentation and understanding the customer needs in those segments should be at the core of value promise. So when doing this, consider the more specific segments inside the ones that you have coined. For instance, what is our master program's customer segments, etc. And then what are their real needs and how we correspond to those needs by the value promise set in the figure. Again, the same with the example from Strategic Business Development Performance Unit. Here at the document level, we haven't specified the segments, but in our typical discussions, particularly regarding the students, we tend to pay attention to discussion about various student segments, what they need, and how we are what we are promising for those segments, and how do we deliver. This, I think, is very important. As the third tool, we use the strategy map. Strategy map depicts the strategic logic of an organization, in this case the university, and in the next slide, strategic business development performance unit. At the highest row, you have the three most important strategic targets. These are productivity targets for the most important processes at the university and at the performance unit level in the next slide. The components of the customer value promise come from the previous tool. So copy-paste from there, you have to do it one by one. Then you have most important concrete processes used to create the customer value. And at the lowest row, you have the most critical resources and competencies, which have potential to be part of the unique capability combination to generate competitive advantage for the university and at the BU level for the PU. So please consider which processes you need to create the customer value from the resources and competencies to achieve the set productivity targets. Again, try to avoid vague concepts and be as concrete and clear as possible. It's not easy and continues developing over time when you continue to share strategic thinking. This goes step by step. And again, the same at the level of strategic business development performance unit. Please use these as examples and benchmarks. It may help when developing your thinking. Read the slides carefully. As the fourth tool, we have targets, measures, and actions. This is the tool where you specify a bit broader scope of targets, of course including the main targets from the strategy map, but also having more space to extend the scope of targets. All the targets should be measurable, preferably on quarterly basis, but at least on yearly basis, with some exceptions allowed. Then here you start identifying the strategic actions, so-called potential development projects and needed investments. These are organized under development programs in the next slide. Now some of you may start thinking that what did we do the last time and how did we implement the set development projects? Some we did, some we didn't. You can shortly discuss about these, maintain some of the important development projects that have not been yet implemented, but you think that should be in the next round. It's obvious that in a short period of time, everything may not have been implemented, and when defining the projects, you should already prioritize the most important ones instead of just accepting everything, because everything cannot be implemented. An example from Strategic Business Development Performance Unit follows again. As you see in SPD example, we try to be as concrete as possible. As concrete as possible. In the fifth tool, relabel the development programs if needed so that they fit to your unit's purpose. Copy-paste the development projects to the timeline. Finally, consider if after implementing the development projects, the targets on the top right corner have been achieved. If not, consider updating the list of development projects, including investments. Again, the example from Strategic Business Development Performance Unit follows. And regarding the administrative units, please consider how you are facilitating by your targets and strategies the performance unit level strategies and their implementation. This is something to consider when you are updating your targets and your strategies at administrative units. Now this is extremely short video about strategy update. You will be invited to the strategy workshop, and teams where you find your strategy document from the previous strategy round using this template. Make sure that you find the template from Teams and that chairs and documenters are ready for the update when the workshop starts. We start the common introduction and guidelines, after which you move to small groups and start updating the strategy. As you have the baseline ready from the previous round, we have reserved only 4 hours for the update. You can and should do strategic thinking and work beyond the workshop within your PUs. And at the beginning of our workshops, our rector, Minna Martikainen, will outline the university strategy and our sense of urgency to aim higher and rapidly develop towards internationally successful and impactful research university. Now I hope this video was useful for you all. See you at the workshops where we try to help you preparing your PU level strategies. Enjoy this creative work and also consider this as an opportunity to communicate your strategy and investment needs to university leadership. Thank you.